Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. We are setting up my bullet journal for November today, and again I will be using acrylic markers from Arrtx. They kindly sent out their 90B marker set to me, so I will be using these markers to create this month's cozy fall fox theme setup. We are starting with a cover page as always, and I'm using this off-white color to color the ears and the belly areas of the fox. I will list the codes of all the colors I used in this setup in the video description in case you also have the Arrtx markers and want to use the same colors as I did, but you really do not need acrylic markers to recreate this setup. You can easily use any medium to color in these doodles. I personally think that color pencils will also look amazing and add a rustic feeling to these drawings. If you do want to get the markers for yourself, I will leave a link to where you can purchase them in the description, and Arrtx also currently have a 10% discount code running until the end of the month. The code is not affiliated to me in any way, but I just want to let you guys know so that you can get them for cheaper, and the code will also be listed in the description. I am so in love with this month's theme. I've been wanting to do a fox theme for the fall months for the longest time, but I just felt super intimidated because I don't think I'm the best at drawing animals. Human anatomy is hard enough, so figuring out how an animal is supposed to look is even harder. But I finally bit the bullet this year, and I'm super proud of myself for pushing myself to do it because I really like how these spreads turn out this month. For the color scheme, I went with a more muted palette for all the cozy fall vibes, so you can see that I used quite a dark orange for the fox instead of a really bright orange. The 90B set has a really good mix of bright colors but also these muted Mirandi colors, which is really nice. They also added a lot of green and really pretty purple shades with this set. Obviously, I did not use any purple in this setup, but the purples look so pretty and I can't wait to use them. I've been painting just random objects in my room with these markers to add a little bit of personality to everything because these do work on pretty much any surface, so I'm pretty sure I'll find something to use the purples on eventually. Every time the end of year approaches, I feel like I fall in love with my bullet journal all over again. I just think journaling is such a cozy activity and I can create these really cute fall inspired themes, so even though I live somewhere without seasons, I can enjoy a bit of fall with the rest of the world through my bullet journal. I might not like drawing animals, but I do love drawing plants. I think they are quite difficult to mess up because they have such an organic shape, so any crooked lines you draw will still turn out looking decent, so I really love incorporating these plants wherever I can. This theme also kind of feels Christmassy with all the green and red colors going on, so if you want to do this theme for December, you can add a scarf or a sweater to the foxes, and I think you'll have yourself a very cute theme for December. I feel like my setups have been getting more drawing heavy lately, and with that comes with a lot more footage that I need to go through, so this video is slightly longer than my other monthly setups, but I do hope you guys enjoy the drawing and the background music. I do think that I might have chosen the wrong shade of green here. It is a little too bright, but I started using it, so I used it for the entire setup. But as always, I do have a digital version of these spreads available on my Patreon, and I changed the colors slightly so that it just fits more nicely together. My Patreon will also be linked down below. I really love how the digital spreads turned out this month, so I do hope you go check it out. I know we still have like 2 months left of 2025, but I'm so excited for the end of the year and the beginning of 2026 because I have so many, so many trips planned. It feels like I will be traveling out of the country, out of the city more days than I will be home in December and January. I'm also excited for colder weather. I know I said I live somewhere without seasons, but the temperature does drop off slightly and it's just my favorite time of year. I have like the opposite of seasonal depression. I know winter can get really harsh for some countries, so I do hope you can find some coziness and enjoyment with my videos. My brain is also already buzzing with plenty of ideas for my 2026 bullet journal. I have so many beginning of the year spreads and layouts I want to try out, and I already have a notebook ready for it. Tifa sent me another one of their notebooks a few weeks ago, and I've just been containing myself from cracking the notebook open and planning in it. I do have a discount code for Tifa. It's just jam and butter all spelled together. I will also have it in the description, so if you're already thinking about your notebook for 2026 like me, check out Tifa. I genuinely really love their notebooks. For the December title, I decided to go with wooden stamps, and I wasn't worried about stamping it on perfectly. I kind of think that it adds to the whole vibe if it's a little imperfect. And that is the cover page done. Let's now move on to the monthly calendar. I am first drawing the calendar grid using the brown vintage Sarasa Clip. I've been using this pen a lot lately. It is just a really nice shade of brown. I love all the colors in the vintage set, but especially this brown and the mustard one. They are so nice to write with, and it is dark enough to be used as outlines, but it is more interesting than using black and more pleasant on the eyes, I feel. For the boxes, I rounded the edges at the corner slightly, and can we just take a moment to talk about how the 30th of November lands on a Sunday? I love when the beginning of the month or the end of the month perfectly fits the start or the end of the week. It is so satisfying, and my monthly calendars looks amazing. At the top of the calendar, I'm creating these long pill-shaped bars with this mustard color, and this is where I will write in the days of the week. I am adding decorations to the top of the page, and I definitely got hand cramps from the amount of drawing I did this month. I have a tendency to grip my pens really tightly, which I feel like it gives me more control, but it also gives me hand cramps, so I do try to be mindful when I'm doing like less precise parts. I try to remind myself to loosen up my grip a little. With these markers, it's fine because they have quite a thick body. I find that the thinner the pen, the worse my hand cramps seems to get, especially with like really thin paintbrushes, so I usually can't paint for more like 3 hours without taking a break, otherwise my hands will be the one to break. I did enjoy creating all the doodles this month. When I'm filming these setups, I usually have a podcast playing in the background or other people's setup videos, and I can just tune out my brain and follow the pencil sketches I have in place. So if you're also just having this video on in the background while you're setting up your spreads or doing something else, hello, I'm glad you're here and I hope you are having a good time. I have some space to the right and the bottom of the calendar, so I'm creating these grid boxes. This one will be for my projects and the other one will be for notes. The projects section is just for the projects I have going on that month. It's really useful if you're like a freelancer like me taking on many projects and clients. Just having a visual list of things on your plate is a really good reminder so that you won't be forgetting anything. I'm using the brush side of the Tombow dual brush pen here to create these lines, but I think the color is slightly too dark for my liking. I contemplated for quite a while on what to use for these boxes, but I didn't want to take out my watercolor and ultimately went with the Tombow. So again, for the digital version, I did change the grid slightly so that the color is much lighter and the lines are thicker as well. If I didn't like something about my setups or think that I could have done it better, I will always change it in the digital version so that you get like an upgraded version of my spreads. You also get a sticker sheet based on the monthly themes every single month that you can use digitally or even print out to use physically. So I do hope you go check it out. You get all of this for just $1. Here I'm drawing a fox curled up on a tree stump, and I think one of the reasons why I love this month's theme so much is that looking at these spreads, I feel like I'm stepping into a forest, which I don't know why, but I've been really obsessed with the forest and trees and just appreciating nature lately. I mean, I've always loved nature, but recently if I just need to clear my mind or I need like a hit of dopamine, I'll just take a walk outside and look at a tree, and at the end of my walk I'll just be in a better mood and a better human being overall. This theme also really reminds me of my initial setup for this bullet journal. I did kind of like this foresty theme with mushrooms using a very similar color scheme to what I'm using here, but that setup took so long, so much longer than this one. Granted, I was creating a lot more spreads because it was the start of a new bullet journal, but also I was using watercolor, which I love the look of watercolor and I can mix the exact shades I want, but it just takes so long. So I only use watercolor if I have a lot of time on my hands. So I end up mostly grabbing for pens and markers for these setups because it's just easier and a lot quicker to work with. One other thing I love about these acrylic markers is that, like acrylic, they are opaque, so you can see that here I drew the plant directly in front of the tree stump and the color showed up super well. Of course, lighter colors will have a harder time covering up darker colors, but I find them to be super forgiving. Like, if I went over slightly with one color, I can just use the other color to go over it, if you know what I mean. While drawing this branch here, I didn't draw it perfectly to my pencil sketch, but it ended up looking fine because, like I said, plants have organic shape, and even if you draw it crooked, it's gonna turn out looking okay. Then in the bars we made at the top, I'm just going back in to write Monday to Sunday, just the first 3 letters. Then I'm stamping on November again at the top here. I didn't use to repeat the month title on the calendar page because it just felt a little redundant, but I've been doing it a lot more lately and I do kind of like the look of it. Then I also stamped out project and note. I didn't plan out the spacing of these super well, so the S's are kind of cut off, but that's okay. I then wrote in the dates and I had a little moment with these numbers here. You can see that 5, 6, and 7 looks a little weird there, but I did eventually cover that up with a white gel pen. And that is our calendar page done. We are now moving on to the habit tracker. We have a 2-page habit tracker this month. I wanted to fit in 6 trackers, but I also wanted space for decoration, so I decided to spread it across 2 pages. This notebook is actually slightly smaller than an A5. I do love the more compact footprint, but sometimes layouts can feel a little tight. I always find myself conflicted between wanting a smaller notebook for portability, but also wanting space for my layouts, and I've never really found a notebook size that satisfy both of these wants. When I was using a traveler size for my bullet journal, I loved the footprint, but I didn't quite like how it opened up to a square and then everything was much more narrow and squished together, so I changed to using Notebook Therapy's original sizes, which is what this notebook is, which I feel like is a nice compromise between wanting a small notebook but also still having that traditional paper ratio. But there were multiple times this year where I felt like it was slightly restricting, so for 2026 I am going back to good old A5, which I'm kind of looking forward to be honest. The squiggly vine things I'm drawing right now were my favorite things to draw this month. You can bend them into any shape, so it's a really good space filler to incorporate into any nature-inspired themes. I then stamped on the habits title and I feel like I want to get like different color stamp pads. I do have a brown stamp pad, but it's quite a bright light brown, so I figured it was just better using black for this setup. I am now drawing the boxes for the habit trackers themselves. These are 9x9 boxes with rounded corners. If I make boxes for the habit trackers, I try to make them consistent with the monthly calendar. So here I just did the dashed lines with rounded corners, and I find that it just makes my spreads more cohesive overall. At the top of the boxes, I'm also doing a similar pill-shaped bars like on the calendar spread. It's a different color but still the same shape. I'm then making little circles to represent each day of the month for each habit, and if I have completed my habit that day, I can put a little cross in the corresponding circle. Some of these circles are not very circular because at this point my hand cramps were getting really bad, but we are almost done with this month's setup. I then went back in to add some sparkles to this spread and also to the calendar spread, and that will be our setup completed. Let's now flip through all the spreads we made today. I'm so in love with November's theme and I can't wait to be using these spreads. It's just the perfect way to add a bit of fall into my life. Thank you so much for spending your time with me today. My Patreon, discount code, social media accounts is all in the description. As always, have a wonderful day or night wherever you are. Bye!